Comedian Dave Chappelle has been making us laugh for more than 30 years. He studied theater at a performing arts high school in Washington, D.C., and then he started sneaking into comedy clubs back when he was 14 years old. His career exploded after the Chappelle Show on Comedy Central, but he suddenly abandoned the show at the height of his success. Now he is back with a three-part stand-up comedy special. Chappelle often shies away from interviews, but he agreed to sit down with us for a chat you will see only on CBS This Morning.
You know, but there was all sorts of speculation. Is he crazy? Did he have a breakdown? Is he on drugs? And the more, if you really read the Dave Chappelle story, it almost seems like it was more peace of mind than it was about money.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to a guy. He basically said to me that comedy is a reconciliation of paradox. And I think that was a irreconcilable moment for me, that I was in this very successful place, but the emotional content of it didn't feel anything like what I imagined success should feel like. It just didn't feel right.
This is it. This is the first episode. Y'all ready? Some sketch comedy. Y'all ready to see some sketches?
Do you miss the Chappelle Show?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, but the Chappelle Show's like breaking up with a girl, and you still like her, but in your mind, like, that bitch is crazy. I'm not going back. I do like to move around when I'm in thought.
Chappelle not only left the show walking away from a $50 million deal, he left the country, going to South Africa to escape.
Did the fame scare you?
Fame, yeah, but not so much that I get on a plane to Africa. Fame is not that kind of scary, but fame is a horrifying concept when it's aimed at you, you know. At the end of the day, you don't have that much control over it. You just try to conduct yourself the best you can.
I started doing drugs when I was little, just like you, Cole.
For 2 seasons, his best was Comedy Central's Chappelle Show. Critically acclaimed and wildly popular.
Is anyone up for a game of basketball?
I wanted to talk about Prince, because that show was still one of the funniest ones.
And then we tried to get Prince, and we were like, yeah, we got this sketch, and it's about you, and Prince was like, no. He's just like, no. But then he saw the sketch, and he loved it.
Yeah.
Game. Blouses.
It was complete coincidence that the weekly sketch came out. He got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But even when you walked away in 2005, you were still working. It's just that we didn't know all the things that you were doing. You really stayed low.
I found an altitude I was comfortable with. You know, I found a way to do what I like to do and avoid some of the parts of it that I was uncomfortable with.
What were you uncomfortable with?
Well, I mean, if you look at me, right, physically, you know, now, I'm like 40 pounds heavier than I was when I did Chappelle Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chappelle Show.
And people are like, how did you gain all that weight? By resting and eating and paying attention to myself. I have actual relationships with my kids. I've been all over the country touring all my life, but I never saw anything. Now I've seen everything. I could talk to people. I had time to stop if someone said they liked me. It wasn't like I'd brush past them like, I don't want to hear it. I had time to stop like, you do? You know what I mean? It's like, it was just like the way that I engaged the world was different. I'm starting to get to a point where like I'd like my life to mean something.
Like when he came to Allen University in Columbia, South Carolina. He wanted to talk to the students.
It's okay to be afraid, because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. So in 2004, I walked away from $50 million. And in November, I made a deal for $60 million. So.
Welcome back home, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He also went to the church named after his great-grandfather, a piece of his family's history he wanted to explore.
Hi. I'm here to bail out my buddy.
Oh, okay. Well, while you're here, you do fit a description.
Chappelle's own history is rooted in stand-up comedy. He started performing when he was only 14.
Do you remember when you got your first laugh?
Yeah, first night I was on stage, I can remember who introduced me. I can remember what my introduction was. I can remember the whole thing.
Let me hear.
This guy named J.T. Newton, he said, You know, folks, everybody starts somewhere. And tonight, this young man is doing stand-up comedy for the first time. He goes, and who knows, we may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome Dave Chappelle. That was it. I did pretty good. They're like, I was screaming. And he's like, that's all for you, kid. That's all for you. But they were treating it like, you know, like I was in the Make-A-Wish Foundation or something, and they just wanted to give me a little boost. But it was encouraging, man. And it felt so good. You know, you'll go through a million bad nights to get those good ones.
3 days ago, this was a place where animals lived and Tonight, it is a place where human beings will get drunk and throw up.
His good nights now involve juke joints, part concert, part party, and all day.
DJ, be nice.
You never go to a party where everyone shows up at the same time. But the juke joint is the kind of party where everyone shows up at the same time. And we start and we finish the night together. And it's just like, it's a very eclectic crowd.
What do you want us to feel in there?
It's like, you know, love and camaraderie and kinship, you know. It's just a reminder, like in my town, it's so small, you throw an event like that in town, it's the big dance.
You know, I've been asking myself, why is it that Dave Chappelle, apart from all the money he has, he chooses to stay in a small town, you know? And I came up with a conclusion that, you know, there's some people that they don't like fame, you know, they just like to live as a normal person. So they prefer to go live in an area where people see them as normal people, you know, people don't see them like superstars or like famous individuals or famous celebrities, you know. They choose to stay in an area that people just see them as normal people. And I think that is why you see, that might be one of the reasons why you see Dave Chappelle chooses to stay in the area that he's living in. You know, in a small town where people treat him as human, they don't treat him as a celebrity style, they don't treat him as somebody that is like super special, you know. And it is really important, especially for someone who wants to, who's like, who doesn't care about fame, you know. Someone wants to be humble, someone wants to stay humble, someone that wants to just be like a simple person, you know, want people to treat him or her just as a normal human being, you know, not that someone which is special, not that someone which is extravagant, but just someone who's normal at the end of the day. And I really understand Dave Chappelle for that part, you know. It's something so that even I myself that I like, that I myself I find interesting in people, you know. It's nice. And also living in that area, he's far from the commute, from the street, far from the noise. He just lives in a quiet area with his family. It really helps you think a lot and also ponder a lot, and you can see how far he has gone with comedy.
That small town is
From
about
living
20
$50 million
miles
to
outside
going
of
to
Dayton,
South Africa,
Ohio,
then coming back
far
again
away
and
from the
making $60
pressure of
million,
big
you
city
know.
life.
Are you ever out
Not
here at night
every-
walking?
Yeah, I walk at night, especially when I
every
first
morning
get
you
back from the
see
road. It's nice out. Scary too.
Why?
It's money to
Raccoons,
take.
you can hear them like
You know,
rustling in the woods. And
there's some
scared
money
of
that may
raccoons?
take it may
Yeah, very
prevent you
much
from
so.
having another money.
That's
See,
an
he left
irrational
$80
fear
million
that I just
went
have.
to South Africa and came back
So if
and
we
got
want to get to you,
$60
Dave,
million.
get a raccoon.
Yeah, I'm not
No,
scared of them.
that's to show you
Like,
how
they're like
patient
if I
it's very
see
important.
them out close, they freak
You know,
me out. They're a
but
little
let's
too
continue with him.
bold. They got those
Let's
hands.
continue with him.
The town is progressive and artsy.
Hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your dad. It's good to see you. Just 1 second.
A place
I'm busy.
Chappelle says he's treated like a neighbor, not a big star.
I'll stop by.
Are you calmer here?
Generally speaking, yeah. I have time to think about things, and I think for a comedian, if you don't have time to think, you're just not as effective. That if you know, it gets a little corporate. I quit!
It's that corporate feel he left behind when he departed Comedy Central, where Key and Peele became the comedians to watch.
I think there's a speculation that Dave doesn't like Key and Peele, or Dave thinks, okay.
No, I'm a fan of this show. You know, when I did Chappelle's show, There were certain conventions of the show that the network resisted. And I fought the network very hard so that those conventions could come to fruition.
We're looking for Clayton Bigsby.
Well, look no further, fella. You found me.
The first episode, I do that black white supremacist sketch, and it's like, well, it's 10 minutes long. It should be 5 minutes long. Why should it be 5 minutes long? Like these types of conventions. I fought very hard. So when I watch Key and Peele, and I see they're doing the format that I created, and at the end of the show it says created by Key and Peele, that hurts my feelings.
I've been gone for a very long time. Surprise, it's me.
Right now, he's focused on his new creation, 3 highly anticipated multi-million-dollar Netflix specials.
You know, America has a racial hot seat. I think we can all agree that that's the truth. And we can also agree that that hot seat is traditionally occupied by African Americans in general, African American men in particular.
Dave, you tell jokes from everything, from race to politics. Do you worry about crossing the line, or is there a line that you won't cross?
Although I can see that in recent years, that seat has been occupied by Mexicans, and I dare say Arabs. And we, the Black Americans, would like to thank you both for your sacrifice and your struggle.
Comedy is weird. The line moves, it changes. But I think a lot of, especially in comedy, a lot of it has to do with intent.
And your intent is?
To make people laugh, to reconcile paradox. I'm like just openly, sometimes I'm just openly vent. I think that when you get to a certain altitude, there's more scrutiny over the things you say, because the platform is so powerful.
So you spent this time with him. What is the takeaway that you come away with most?
Well, I mean, number one, that he's extremely smart, as most comedians are. But when you talk about how do you walk away from $50 million, he didn't like Charlie being controlled. Everybody came in with all sorts of ideas about how his show should be done, cut this out, put this in. He said people that didn't really understand him and understand his comedy, so it wasn't worth that. So to me, he was such a man of integrity. There were a lot of snickers and what's wrong with him. But when you talk to him, it's very clear. He's very committed to who he is. So I totally get that. And I didn't at first. I didn't.
Does he seem whole at this point?
Oh, he seems very whole. Listen, he's married. He's been married to the same woman for a very long time. Has 3 great kids, and he lives in this town in Ohio. He's very, very happy and can't wait to get on the road. He says he's very nervous what people say about the Netflix special, but it's very good.
These will be 3 different specials.
Yeah, 3 different specials.
You know, it's so nice wherever you live, you know, that can grant you peace. Live there, anywhere that you have peace, any environment that you live, that gives you the sense of peace and that helps you think. It is very important, you know, stay there, you know. And Dave Chappelle living where he lives in Ohio really helps him connect with his neighbors, helps him bond with his neighbors. And you see, he say he doesn't sit and take interviews because you can say something today and tomorrow you change your mind. But once that thing has gone out, trust me, nobody will want to listen to you if you're joking. Even if you come back and say, hey, what I was saying, it was a joke. People won't listen to you anymore. They'll be like, nope, that is yes. They'll be like, no, what I was saying is a joke. People will be like, no. They don't care if what you were saying is a joke. They'll be like, no, we don't care if what you were saying is a joke. They will think you're serious. So it is very, very important to know how you say things, especially if you have plans in changing your mind later. You know, it's very, very important to be cautious on how you say things and how you go about saying it with people. You know. And I really agree with Dave Chappelle. He doesn't sit and do comedies because he might say something today and tomorrow change his mind. And once he has said that, people won't believe in him anymore. So, and it will be difficult to convince people back. And that is something that Donald Trump that it was possible for that he did. So, and It's difficult to convince people back though. It's always nice to um, stick with your words, and avoid, especially you being a public figure, it's nice to avoid a lot of interviews and press because, especially interviews though, because they might make you say things that you come back later and deny and try to change your mind, and it's already too late or too difficult. So it's it's always nice to um it's always nice to take less interviews. Thank you.